The Glorb story. The Krusty Krab, owned by the titular Eugene Krabs, is an infamous establishment with many divisive comments and misnomers, mostly posted by local college graduate internet troll Sheldon J. Plankton. This situationship the pair found themselves in resulted in at least one deadly shooting in the rural Bikini Bottom, currently labeled as a danger zone, quote unquote, to nearly 20 nautical nations. But how did this happen? Everything I'm about to report is considered hearsay under an official court of law, under the rap snitches, quote unquote, referendum. Back in the 90s, the two had a falling out over involuntary manslaughter charges that has been recently expunged. The two had opened competing restaurants by 1999 with multiple warrants requesting Plankton's arrest that has yet to be resolved. This unrest led to a breakout hit on TikTok in 2023, The Formula, garnering over 45,000 views in a month. It's some straight fire at the zoo. Mr. Krabs, frustrated, claims that Plankton is a bitch 5 times. Plankton is a quote-unquote op. He, with other assailants, including but not limited to a Squidward Tentacles, a current lifetime employee of the Krusty Krab, had physical relations with both Plankton and his wife, assumed to be Karen in this instance, and alluded to a sexual encounter with a Miss Sandy Cheeks. Later that month, an album dropped titled STD, a Mr. Swag's Diss, a bit derivative, but the track describes Plankton talking about himself being young enough to die, but rich enough to fuck, quote unquote, which personally resonated with me. In a dreadful foreshadowing of events, Plankton compares his strained relationship with the aforementioned King Crab, Krabs, or Mr. Krabs, as, quote, like Biggie versus Tupac. But personally, I'd say Scarface versus Scarface. He claims to own Bikini Bottom Metropolis and straight name drops Mr. Krabs, so now it's targeted. In no uncertain terms, Plankton claims to gun down Mr. Krabs on sight. Mr. Krabs is a quote rat boy, reprimands Mr. Krabs for fraternizing with law enforcement. He claims to have had physical relations with Mr. Krabs' adopted daughter, whose name I've chosen to not disclose due to the nature of her age. During the recording of this video, Plankton articulates himself as a scary demon to be feared, and damn if these beats don't lie, because this is some Amaterasu levels of fire clapping back. It doesn't end there, because later, still that month, consecutive tracks were released by SpongeBob, a current employee of the Krusty Krab, and Plankton, Fun, and KYS, respectively. The track Fun begins with a recording of a reportedly intoxicated Plankton, doubtfully unaware of the wire feed, asking SpongeBob what fun even means. Where, in a subversion of his previous family-friendly hit single, SpongeBob spells out every way Plankton has him fucked up, alluding to some unspoken deals that fell through. SpongeBob continues to call Plankton a dish, a bitch. He claims to have used his reportedly huge member to have physical sex with Plankton's wife Karen, where apparently he was caught by Plankton doing the deed. This act of sexual deviancy tracks to be a bid to collect. SpongeBob finishes the track insisting that Karen and Plankton, referred to as Dinkton to avoid slander, lives are below consideration. Plankton smells bad and should give up rapping because the Krusty Krab is moving up in the world, cooking crack, in opposed to the chum bucket. The following week, KYS was released in response. This track is assuredly referring to both Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, referencing Kurt Cobain's suicide, basking over making Mr. Krabs defecate on himself, and suggesting Mr. Krabs take his own life? Absolute demon time from your boy Dinkton. Although I don't agree with the message, the track is hot. Plankton goes into detail about his sexual conquest with Miss Puff, an off again, on again fling of Mr. Krabs, and a Sponge Boy, no doubt referring to the artist previously known as SpongeBob. On July 4th, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and SpongeBob dropped the coldest diss track in human history, The Bottom, a track like no other. The track begins with Mr. Krabs asking the audience and assumedly everyone he meets if they want to die because he could help with that lickety split. Who starts a conversation that way? Mr. Krabs goes on to divulge intimate moments with Plankton's wife. This next line is a bit tricky to decipher, but it sounds a lot like sodomy, hence the alias Crab Bye, quote unquote. And if Neptune isn't crying yet, he sure is now. This following verse is, to put it simply, what carried this collab to be the coldest rap snitch moment. Performed by the Honorable Squidward Tentacles. Squidward begins by laughing. What a mad lad! He laughs at all this money he made just by agreeing to hate Plankton. He waxes poetic about all his non-taxable income. The kelp, which is safe in Bikini Bottom, he smokes up to his fucking harsh. Turn a blind eye to some racism. Drugs and candy is in the mix. It's Nirvana, and still his demon wants to take from others via credit card fraud. And the vibrato at the end? Love it! Later is SpongeBob, and his verse is iconic to say the least. SpongeBob references the assault committed on what is implied to be Plankton. Conolingus, with his wife, Karen, this is the part. It sounds amazing. SpongeBob describes the action of setting Plankton up for a bust, where fake law enforcement line him up as if he's getting a mugshot, but it's not that. Instead, they strip Plankton of his clothes, Mr. Krabs enters the room, and reintroduces himself. Plankton claps back with KFC, a reference to slavery, in the title of Plankton's most controversial rap snitch moment. In it, he laughs at all the critics lobbying for his cancellation, calls the Krusty Crew cancer, and in the same breath, kids with cancer, and claims to make them disappear, referring to an untimely death. I am unaware of Plankton and Karen's vows. However, Plankton also admits to more infidelity. This is when reports take a dark turn. Before, it was schoolyard bickering and sexual excursions, but now Plankton went too far. Perhaps he felt cornered and had a lapse in judgment, but he brainwashed the local jackass Patrick Starr and made him a rap snitch on Plankton's behalf, introduced as Plankton's hired gun. And before I repeat all that is said, allow me to give context. It has been revealed that SpongeBob and Patrick were friends since childhood, before gang. I'm talking day one. They had never had a falling out like this, and that's what makes the following experience a harrowing as it is. In a show of obvious non-consent, Patrick gives a piece of his mind to the listeners, saying, "Fuck the Krusty Crew." And I mean it. Plankton got Patrick's stupid ass working host duties at the Chum Bucket restaurant, and Plankton appears to be keeping Patrick's soul docile by drowning him in Bussy Xanax. Patrick also tried to talk to Sandy, Freudian slip, and I don't think she was fucking with your boy. Bitch boy is what he called his best friend. Patrick says he wants to be left alone, and claims to murder Mr. Krabs. Claims to be a pimp, distributing sedatives to minors. Oh my god. Selling rock, quote unquote. And finally, the crime of this beat going so hard and feeling too hot. I love you, Patrick, but I don't think "the devil made me do it" is gonna fly in court. It ends with divulged plans to shoot Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Squidward with an automatic rifle. Later that same month, pop country artist Sandy Cheeks, aka Sandy the Squirrel, unleashed an unprecedented beat, MHMM, that polarized feminists in the nations surrounding Bikini Bottom. I will now read what she has to say about the ongoing incident. Quote, I'm tired of these rappers talking. I'm willing to bet this is referring to the biggest rap beef in her state that is currently ongoing. She solidifies this theory by calling Plankton a bitch, left him on red, so you know he tried to talk to her. She goes on to quote that she is Bikini Bottom's namesake, which is not unfounded. Sandy Cheeks belongs to aliens or something crazy. Actually, the town's name was based off of Bikini Atoll, a nuclear bomb test site for the aliens that Sandy works for. So it tracks. Only the baddest bitches live in bubbles. I got hella ass. She entered a club. She entered a club with a firearm. What? Plankton is a pussy. Reference to American rapper DDG. Referencing the attempted murder of perceived ops via multiple drive-by shootings, not unlike Crips and Bloods. Haters belong in the kitchen. Her presence makes bitches act goofy. She makes others' husbands wait before putting out, because her goals are beyond one's understanding. She got out the dirt, and Plankton, who is an ugly green bitch, has sex with a computer and has a little dick. She goes on to exclaim that living inside a perceived bucket, referring to the chum bucket's exterior building design as unsightly, you don't want to fuck with Sandy Cheeks. The song ends with a message directed to Karen specifically. Sandy says that Karen is dating a loser and that Karen needs to hush. It is obvious that the ongoing strife between Plankton and Mr. Krabs' rap beef, coupled with multiple unsolicited name drops, infuriated Miss Cheeks into lashing out with this diss track, and I am standing in solidarity. Eugene. This rap shit has gone too far. By the end of the month, reports made live television news when the chum bucket was riddled with bullets in a drive-by shooting. Emergency responders reported one female victim that has recently been revealed to be Plankton's wife, Karen. This ghostly news coverage was recorded to introduce Eugene. Boss, what do I have to do to them ops? Shoot to kill. Got my burner to his mouth. Pop rocks. Gary, associate of SpongeBob, where is my Glock? You know he, referring to Gary, keeps it hot. Squidward got that kill switch strapped up like it's Baghdad. SpongeBob mentions the recovery of Patrick's mind, a heartwarming resolve, and may be related to the killing of Karen. Karen pissed off because a squid wouldn't smash her. She wants my bullworm like it came from Alaska. I do this shit every day. Squiddy caught a kill streak. The chopper gunner on the way. This part is cold. This part code carries. All I see are bodies falling and dead ops when duty's calling. I'm the red dot. The lean, sippin' squid with no remorse. I am him. Let me just ask, why are these men not in custody? Why are they allowed to roam the streets? Breakout hit Larry the Lobster Larry, aka ASAP Larry, released a single, and I like to think he made it out of Bikini Bottom with that one. But it's unlikely. It's a bop though. Plankton wrote some kind of country song, and it was kind of weak. Not gonna lie, I didn't really fuck with it, because it made everyone who called Plankton a bitch before sound on point in retrospect. Finally, let me elaborate on the latest beat dropped by the KKC crew. Kill Cam. Quote from SpongeBob. I just spun around on an op like a kill cam. Hit your wifey block, had to do her like a milkman. Violence never fazed me. I'm happy that I killed her. Off duty officer, the way I keep that steel tucked. I'm a pop and op. I pop with my crew like a motley. He mentioned taking photos of his victim before taking her life. Quote from Squidward: hit your credit card with the cyber scam crew. I need an intervention like a sniper clan do. Because you know my gun is unregistered like Hypercam 2. I really wish he'd keep MLK out of this gang shit. I'm telling you all this because I need those who are unaware to understand the sheer insanity of the Glorb expanded universe. There's just something about SpongeBob trap music that just hits every time. And Glorb took that secret winning formula, see what I did there, and made it their own. No matter how this story ends, if it ends, one thing is certain for Bikini Bottom listeners: more heat is on the way.